Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show, brought to you each week by the National Sports Collectors Convention. Join us every Wednesday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and get the latest news from the greatest experts in the sports collectibles world. You can watch us on the Great American Collectibles Facebook page, as well as YouTube, or you can listen to us on Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, or any of your favorite podcast platforms. And now your hosts, award-winning sports collectibles author Tom Zappola and Boston sports media personality John Mallory.
Excuse me. Hi, Jam. How you doing? What's going on?
What's up, Zap? How you doing, buddy?
Good. Everything is good. We're we're happy down here in Florida, and everything seems to be going well.
Yeah, we're getting a little warmer here up north. Not great, but we had a few 60s, so we're getting ready for you to come back. I'm getting it nice and warm.
Yeah, 3 weeks we're ready. We've got some events coming up, John. By the way, I forgot to tell you, May 8th, we have an event. If you're around, we're going to be doing the fundraiser for Lucy's Love Bus.
Yep.
For the cancer kids. It's an auction. They've asked us to MC it. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some fun with it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Welcome to the Great American Collectibles Show. Tom Zapp, my good friend, co-host, award-winning co-author, John Mallory, in the house, radio personality, Boston TV critic. You name it, you've done it, man. You even got thrown out of the Boston TV market.
I didn't get thrown out. Some people don't like me, but I mean, I'm kind of used to that. So I've been working with you all these years, so it's easy.
Well, we have a good show today. Very good show. We've got our good friend. He's out with a new book. Great book. It's just it's a piece of art. James Fiorentino. I consider him probably the best sports artist in the country.
No question.
Joe Orlando from Heritage Auctions is going to be joining us a little later on. Joe was in his car, and being in L.A., it was hijacked. So he fought the two guys off, and he's back in his car, and he's heading home to his computer, and he'll join us. And then a little later on in the show, Scotty Russell from the Collector Connection is going to be joining us. Scott has a wealth of knowledge. John, he's got a new hairdo, I think.
He's looking good. He's looking high and tight.
Does, man. He looks good. He looks
cropped.
He's got the beard.
Love it. I
Trim.
admire any man with hair. So
by the way, I'm kind of growing my locks in the back.
I don't count you in that.
Ellen thinks I look sexy, man. She thinks I look sexy.
As long as she does, that's what's important.
Well, I'm just saying she does. As long as my wife thinks I look sexy,
that's exactly
that's all
right.
I care.
That's
all right,
exactly
let's bring in
right.
James first. James Fiorentino, our good friend. James, we love working with him. And James, how are you, brother?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Everything is well. I want to listen again for the sake of so I don't screw this up. James and John helped James with the book. So I'm going to defer to you guys pretty much about the overall tone of what the book was about. But I'm going to ask James. James, can you give us a quick overview? The book is absolutely gorgeous.
Thanks. And obviously really appreciate all the help from you and Ellen and obviously John. It's, essentially it's just telling the story of my life really painting baseball for the last 30 years. And simply that. It's, all the stories that I get to tell and share and some obviously I had forgotten about, which is the nice part of doing this book, or I'm going to forget at some point. But yeah, it's literally the last 30 years of just my baseball side of my paintings.
I'll tell you, man, when you open up the pages of that book, the artwork kind of just jumps out at you, John. I mean, what are your impressions, JM? I mean, you worked closely on the book.
First of all, I was thrilled when James asked me to work with him on it, because I'd gotten to know James through you, Zap, through doing the shows and doing this show. And, obviously being a collector, being a sports fan, if you don't know who James Fiorentino is, which I did not, for the most part before all this, if you look at his work, you're automatically drawn to it. And I agree with what you said. I think he's the foremost sports artist in the country, in the world, even. What his work is tremendous. Friends of mine who have now seen the book are like, I want to find, more things from James. But it was a thrill for me to be a part of it. What I liked about it, and James kind of touched on it, Zap, at the open, is that it is a life story. But it's not me, I, me. You know what I mean? It's a life story told through the athletes that he's painted and immortalized, but also he's become friends with them and established relationships with them, James. And I think that was the big thing that, it was kind of like, sorry for the long answer here, but it was kind of like your book with Rico, the Cardboard Memories book.
Sure.
We did by phone a few hours of interviews.
Yep.
And, as an interviewer yourself, just learning what I didn't know about James was probably the most fun part for me. And James, I want you to talk about that a little bit because it wasn't just that you painted these guys and see you later. A lot of them you're still friends with. A lot of them you've established relationship with, gotten to know each other's families. Talk about that angle a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's probably what separates me from a lot of the people I've been painting, for many, many years or even currently. And that's from starting very young, developing these friendships with these guys. And I think that made it easy that I was, painting at 14, 15, 16, 17, doing some really big projects. And these guys recognizing obviously my age and passion for, for the game, for painting, for playing. And so, yeah, I mean, it goes back to, again, like we just mentioned, Yogi Berra at 15 to Ted
Yeah.
Williams and Ripken, and even I was mentioning seeing Ripken this weekend coming up. So all these years later, yeah, it's been wonderful. It's been, and I think also, for my works, helping out a lot of these guys, their charities, foundations, stuff personally, them receiving these paintings as awards, it's sort of been everything. And so when those things are happening, you're becoming friendly with these guys, really, like you mentioned. So that is really the cool part of this.
Hey, James, what is, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, in the second segment, we are going to, we started the Great AI GAX baseball tournament, which we're going to talk about later on, the 16 greatest teams of all time per my son-in-law, Danny, the baseball savant, who is an analytics freak with AI and all that stuff. So this week, we're in the second round, the Elite Eight, and we are going to talk about the results of a good game. The 1929 Philadelphia Athletics versus the 2004 Boston Red Sox.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. But yeah. James, I wanted to ask you, in your whole body of work in this book, who's your single most favorite player?
I mean, I'd say, like, honestly, I mean, the legendary guys to me, obviously, I'll always go back to those guys. I think Joe DiMaggio, meeting him a few times and him really loving my work is a pretty big deal. And it's hard to compete with guys like that and Ted Williams. I mean, like, my interactions with Ted Williams at that time was amazing. So I don't think it'll ever be, it's pretty hard to, get better than those guys.
James, can you elaborate on that a little bit? I mean, some of these guys, the stories that you told me were pretty amazing. Talk about the Ted Williamson, because you actually eventually you went down to Florida and sat with Ted, at his home, correct?
Yeah, and this really all came out of collecting, really. The reason I was always painting since I was young, and obviously had a passion for it and have painted everything besides sports, but the baseball and all the sports side of it was really out of wanting to get something cool signed, and ended up being DiMaggio. And I think it sort of was this domino effect of DiMaggio into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, of having the Reggie Jackson up at 15 to then, having the Ted Williams Museum see my stuff. It just happened to be the right place at the right time, where it was the second year of the museum and they were having the 20 greatest hitters, chosen by Ted, which would become a book. And it's actually a very cool thing. And going back to analytics, like what Ted was doing back then, which was way beyond his time, of figuring out, like, power and all these numbers.
Yep.
So literally that age for me was the first time I had ever flown. So my sister and I flew out to meet Ted the previous year, which was, I think, maybe 94-ish, and spent a lot of time with him. We spoke about the painting. The painting would end up hanging in his house, would ultimately be autographed by all the guys who were living on it, which was an amazing group of people. I would fly out later on in February of 95 to the event. And I joke around and tell people, I mean, like, again, I'm 17 years old, I'm playing sports, and
It's unbelievable.
you're around 50 Hall of Famers, and Bagwell's first year, George Bush spoke there, Bob Costas. The table next to me was Mantle, and that year Mantle had passed away, so he had actually come over and signed. My mom had grabbed him to sign the original painting, and
Yeah.
but Hank Aaron, Mays, Mantle, Ted Williams, all at the table next to me. So it was incredible. And these guys would see me all the time. And I'd go to shows, I'd go to Atlantic City shows, all these, the national. And so these guys would start to get to know me. I was like gifting them stuff. So, I was doing this way before most guys were doing it. And, that's again how I developed the relationships, even again with Yogi. And
Right.
Yogi invited me to his house. I'm 15
Right.
years old, so it was a lot of just that passion for cards and collecting and being around these players and using my art to do it.
So,
J-
James, when
go
you
ahead.
sorry, Zeb, when
That's
you
okay.
tell me these stories, you're telling me it now as an adult, and you're very calm in telling it now. When you were 15 years old and you're in Yogi Berra's house, and you're 17 and
about that.
DiMaggio's at the table, like, were you at all nervous, starstruck? What was it like being that kid at that time?
Yeah, I was. I think I was. I was always very confident in my work, but even honestly, like still today, I think you're always trying to get better as an artist. So as confident as I am, I'm very critical of my work. I'm always trying to
Yep.
get better. Much easier back then with what was going on, and again, my relationships were great with these guys, and they were always good to me. And especially because I was younger, now. It's still amazing to meet these guys, especially, current players and young guys. And now I get to have my kids be around me to meet them. So, and I'm still always amazed. But I think because I've met so many people, and obviously outside of sports, whether it's been presidents and all different people, I'm sort of used to it. But I think as a kid, yeah, I honestly probably didn't realize how amazing when I now would think back to it, from Muhammad Ali's and Ted Williams and all these guys. Yeah, I mean, that to me, I think more than anything is what's amazing about the book is that, it goes back to such a young age. So when I tell people like I've worked with these guys, they can't believe it. They're like, wait a minute, how old are you? And when did you do this? How did you do work with Ted Williams? And so, that is the cool part.
We had a chatting with James Fiorentino, artiste perfecto. Hey, listen, James, I got a question. Over your left shoulder, there's like using that as an example. There's that Ruth painting. How long does it take you typically to do a project, a painting from start to finish?
Yeah, so all of my work you're seeing here in the book is all watercolor. So that in itself is more unique. Most guys, not tackling that. It's a very tough medium, can't make mistakes. Been doing that since I was 8 years old, which is why I think I, gravitated and loved it. Some paintings can take 3, 4 days, some can take a week, some can take 2 weeks. You know what I mean? It really depends on, again, size, detail, what's in it, how many people and players. You know, most of the time I'm sitting around the 16 by 20 to 22 by 30-ish size. Some can get smaller, but there are times where I've done huge 30, 40 by 50-inch paintings. So yeah, it's a lot of detail, a lot of time, a lot of hours into it. But it's also a very fast medium. You have to work quickly in watercolor.
Oh, I
Yeah.
was a watercolor guy myself, fourth grade, Holy Rosary School. And I'll never forget Marie Espinola was sitting in front of me, and I had this urge to dip my brush into the black paint and did the back of her collar because they had those white collars with the black paint.
Did not know where you were going with that, but I'm glad it went where it went.
It came out. No, it came out pretty well. Came out pretty well. So she kind of looked like a zebra when I was done with her, but of course I got in trouble for that.
We should mention the name of the book is The Art of Baseball, The Watercolors of James Fiorentino. And James, kind of funny, just going back to your youth and your beginnings in this. It's funny, you told me a story that you entered, you would enter your art in shows, right? And contests. And there was one judge that said, You shouldn't focus on sports. You should focus on landscapes. Can you talk about that a little bit? Thank God you didn't go in that direction.
Yeah. It's pretty funny because even prior to like 14 and 15 and doing the DiMaggio stuff, I'm thinking probably like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old. I used to go to local art shows all around the state of New Jersey and, enter into shows and then have my artwork for sale. So I was selling like small paintings of athletes and baseball players. But yeah, I mean, and still to this day, like, obviously, I love painting landscapes. I mean, I'm an Andrew Wyeth person and love the
Yeah.
Wyeth artwork. And, so back then I was winning awards with beautiful landscapes and wildlife. And I understand what the artist was telling me. But I remember saying to my mom, well, I have a passion for painting these athletes and baseball players, and I don't want to give it up. So my mom's like, don't. And thank God, because that was what separated me, from everyone else,
Right.
and now allows me, to this day to have watercolor paintings of, portraits and landscapes and wildlife in national and international museums and galleries. I still am able to do that, which I think gives a lot of credibility to my sports art. But obviously, the baseball paintings and the sports stuff is what has allowed me to be a professional artist my whole life.
Yeah.
James, when did the light go on that you were sitting down painting, you 3, 4, 5, and it's like, wow, I'm pretty good at this. When did that, I mean, did it evolve or did it like, I mean, obviously what you do is a God-given talent. Not everybody can do it. Was there a point in time where it was like, wow, I am good at this?
I think really little. And I think it's like that, honestly, for musicians, artists, even athletes. And then I
Yeah.
think, like anything else, you get better by practicing, but you love it and you want to practice because you are good at it. And kindergarten teachers, first grade, second grade, we're all keeping my artwork back then. So I was
Okay.
way above like all the kids. And then obviously, thank God, my mom had said to me, "Go, do you need to take private art lessons?" I was 8, painting with adults and older kids, but that allows you to get better. And it's the same again. Like if you're a golfer, if you're a baseball player, if you're, the more you hit, the more you practice, the more you get tips from other professionals, the better you get. Same with art. That's why I paint every day. Usually, if you hear musicians, they'll be like, "Yeah, I sing almost every day. I play the guitar for an hour or two every day." So all of that helps when you're really getting it done at a young age. And I was, around a lot of really good painters and artists helping me. So yeah, it's definitely born in you, and then you find what your passion is within it.
Yeah.
You did an event for Yogi Berra, correct?
Yeah, I had done a lot. Yeah, I'd been around him many, many years. I'd done solo shows at the museum. I have an event coming up in April where I'll do a book signing there, talk, and showcase some originals. So yeah, I was lucky to have a really nice relationship with Yogi in the museum over the years.
Yeah.
Champ?
No, I was just going to say, we talked about when you were young and everything like that, and how this became something that obviously grew into a career for you. When you mentioned your mom a lot, and I know when we talked about it, and we were doing the book, your mom was a tremendous influence on you, not only in that encouraging you to pursue your passion in art, but from a business standpoint and how you went about sort of building your brand. Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, that's a really important question. I mean, and people ask me that all the time. So even for me to this day, obviously I have people that help me in many aspects of it, but back then it was, there was no emails coming in and internet. It was phone calls and letters, phone calls and letters. And I was
Yeah.
lucky enough at, I guess, 17, 18, when I was about to go to college to play baseball with all the Ripken stuff I was doing. I was on every national TV show there was practically. So we would get tons of phone calls and tons of letters. And we were doing big projects with athletes and agents and players. And, eventually we go into tops and upper deck and all these things. But my mom was a huge help. And I needed help with that and someone to speak for me. People wanted to come to the house all the time. It was amazing. So yeah, I was very lucky enough to have that and be taught sort of the street smart side of business and who to work with and who not to work with. It's a beautiful thing to be able to have that at a very young age, and to this day, be able to use all that, and whether it's from just relationships and friendships, taking care of business, being good to people, donating my work to a lot of causes, and all that stuff really came from my parents and my mom at a young age.
And
Very cool.
just a follow up, Zap.
Yep.
I know we're going to break pretty soon, but the other thing I like about the book and the way it came out, James, is it's definitely a book about your art. People who appreciate art, whether it's sports or not, will love it. But it's also a sports book, The Art of Baseball, and we get insight into these players and these athletes. And I think you wanted that to be a big part of the book, right?
No, definitely. I mean, like the stories you wrote with it, I wanted it to be more than that. That you can buy this book and appreciate for the art and the art side of it, but also for the stories and
Yeah.
the athletes and who they are and the time period of it. There's a lot of history involved with who I was painting and at what time. I mean, honestly, one of the coolest things for me is having my all-time favorite player, Don Mattingly, write the
Yeah.
foreword to the book. You know what I mean? Like to
Right.
me, I think back walking to Yankee Stadium for the first time at, 8 or 9 years old and seeing Mattingly as this god and this hero of mine, and then having a relationship and a friendship with him, and him doing the forward is unbelievable. So, that to me with the stories and the interesting stories, and again, it's people from Ripken and Pepper Davis
Yeah.
to even like the picture of Tiger Woods in there with the painting I did of his father for him, and there's a lot of just interesting stuff that ties in with baseball that maybe people didn't realize I've done. And actually, even all the cover artwork and the trading cards, and gosh, there's so much of it. That's really why I wanted to show it, and to see it in book form is kind of neat because it's many, many years of doing it.
By the way, Chrissy is posting some beautiful images from the book. They're absolutely gorgeous. All right, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's going to be the great AI GAX baseball tournament brought to us each week by Paul Borges. We'll talk about that. And Joe is going to join us. I think Joe Orlando, Scotty Russell is going to be joining us. James is with us for the hour. So we got a lot to talk about. Hang in there. I'm going to go get a coffee. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curry, a two-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petroselli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Since 1996, Brian Drent and the staff at Denver's Mile High Card Company have led the charge in the collectibles hobby. Mile High is a full-service dealer specializing in buying and selling cards, and offers a competitive consignment program for all collectors. Whether it be their computerized want list service, appraisals, or auction services, Mile High has it all. If you've been searching for a company with a selection of high-grade vintage 1888 to 1970 baseball cards and memorabilia that shares your passion, aim high, Mile High. Go to milehighcardco.com or call 303-840-2784 for more information.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
This is Brian Drent, president of Mile High Card Company. Is your sports card and memorabilia collection properly insured? For easily replaced personal property, homeowners insurance is all most people need. But for prized possessions that you may have spent a lifetime collecting, it doesn't go nearly far enough. Collectables Insurance Services has been insuring for over 50 years. They offer a full range of protection and a $0 deductible at an affordable rate with no appraisals required. I know because they insure my collection. If you have a minute, go to collectinsure.com and learn more about insuring your personal card or memorabilia collection.
How would you like to own the bat that was used by your favorite player when he hit that towering home run or game-winning base hit? Now look no further than JT Sports, specializing in the sale and authentication of professional game-used bats. As the official authenticators of professional model game-used bats for PSA DNA, JT Sports will guarantee the authenticity of any bat purchased from them. JT Sports also buys and sells game-worn uniforms, gloves, and baseball equipment. The unique quality of the collectible is what JT Sports is all about. Give them a call at 609-487-8003 or check them out at GameUseBats.com.
Okay, we are back, and James isn't, but that's okay.
He's just giving us a chance to see his art.
To see the artwork. Hey, Chris, can we bring in Scott now with us? Scott, are you there?
I'm here.
Is Chrissy there? There we are.
He'll be on screen shortly.
The reason I'm
can talk to
asking
him.
is because I just got a text from Joe. Joe is not going to be able to join us. He is stuck in traffic in beautiful wherever the hell he is in California. That whole California thing, man. For you guys that live out California, move.
He's in Southern California, right?
Yeah, he's down like near Santa Monica or wherever the hell he is, LA.
It's not. It's.
I'm sorry. What, Scott?
I said because there's no traffic in Boston.
Oh God,
yeah,
absolutely not. All right, listen, it's time for and so Scott's jumping in. This is great because we have some great hobby talk to talk about. We're going to get James involved too. But right now it's time for the great AI Gax baseball tournament, brought to us each week by our good friend Paul Borges and the staff at PB Collectables, your neighborhood card shop. Go to pbcollectables.com to purchase that special vintage card that you have been looking for. Okay.
Hey, can I just say something? I have to be honest. When you first pitched this, whenever it was 3-4 years ago, is that how long this has gone on? I wasn't really.
God, I hate you.
I wasn't like real. Not that I wasn't keen on it. I thought it was really neat and fun. But I have to say, I'm starting to get interested in this.
See, it really is.
No, it's really fun.
Right.
It is.
So what we did, we'll make this real quick. So what we did is.
No, you don't have to make it quick. All
right. And by the way, I want James's input and Scotty's input.
Right.
My son-in-law really is an AI freak. Let's put it that way. Lives out in San Francisco. Another problem. But putting that aside, he threw all this information in, and I asked him to give me back the 16, according to AI, the 16 greatest baseball teams of all time. Now, again, this is for entertainment purposes only. So here's the list real quick. Number 1, the 1927 Yankees. Number 2, the 1906 Chicago Cubs. Number 3, the 75 Big Red Machine. Number 4, the 98 Yankees. Number 5, the 2001 Mariners. Number 6, the 1939 Yankees. Number 7, the 1961 Yankees. Too many freaking Yankees. Number 8, the 1984 Detroit Tigers. Number 9, the 1919 Chicago Black Sox. Number 10, the 2004 Red Sox. Number 11, the 1942 St. Louis Cardinals. Number 12, the 86 Mets. Number 13, the 95 Atlanta Braves. Number 14, the 1970 Baltimore Orioles. Number 15, the 29 Philadelphia Athletics. And number 16, the 1955 Brooklyn Dodgers. So we are now down to the Elite Eight. We've gone through the first Sweet 16. Last week's winner was the 1927 Yankees beating the 1984 Detroit Tigers.
Close game.
It was a good game.
Yeah.
This week's matchup, this is kind of cool. The 1929 Philadelphia Athletics versus the 2004 Boston Red Sox. And the pitching matchups are Wade Hoyt versus Lefty Grove, wrong team.
Lefty Grove.
Lefty
yeah, right.
Grove versus Kurt Schilling. So here are the results. And by the way, you guys can't see it, but you're going to see all the nice images that our producer puts on when you watch the show. This is not inning by inning, but almost inning by inning. First inning, Mulehaus singles, but is stranded. That's as far as they get. Bottom of the first inning, Johnny Damon doubles and scores on a Manny Ramirez single. Red Sox lead 1-0. Second inning, Bing Miller and Mickey Cochran single, bringing up Jimmy Fox, who rips a 3-run homer over the Green Monster. The A's lead 3-1. Third inning, Manny Ramirez doubles. David Ortiz drives him in with a single. Kevin Millar follows with an RBI double, and the score is tied 3-3. Fourth inning, top of the fourth.
By the way, Millar owned Lefty Grove.
Oh, he did. He did. Oh, you're killing me. Fourth inning, Al Simmons doubles, then scores on a sac fly by Jimmy Fox. The A's take the lead 4-3. Fifth inning, Johnny Damon singles, steals second. Ortiz singles him home and ties the game 4-4. Let's jump to the sixth. Top of the sixth. Mickey Cochran doubles and scores on a Miller single. The A's take the lead 5-4. Bottom of the sixth. Manny again doubles. He's had a hell of a game.
Yep.
Ortiz is intentionally walked, and Jason Veritek's single scores Manny. Score is 5-5. Eighth inning. Bottom of the eighth inning. Bill Miller triples off of Rube Wahlberg, who has obviously come in for lefty. Damon's sac fly makes it 6-5 Boston. Ninth inning. Jimmy Fox singles, and Al Simmons knocks him in with a base hit, ties the game 6-6.
Nice.
Bottom of the ninth. Keith Folk allows a single, but winds up stranding the runner. We go into extra innings, 10th inning. Manning leads off with a single. Trot Nixon walks, and Ortiz lines a single to right, scoring Manny for a walk-off. Red Sox win 7-6. Doesn't get any better than that.
So even in AI, David Ortiz is clutch.
He's unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right, Scott, you go first. What are your thoughts? I know you're going to crap all over this. For the sake of entertainment purposes, can we be a little lenient on us, Scott?
Yeah, well, if they got to Lefty Grove like that's amazing, because Grove was one of those unsung, people forget just how ridiculously dominant he was.
Yeah, right.
And actually, he pitched for the Red Sox. He pitched for the Red Sox. James, what are your thoughts? I mean, you're a collector. You're a baseball historian.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I love hearing stuff like that. I'm visual, so I'm always thinking that stuff and thinking these guys being painted. And a couple of those guys were on the Ted Williams 20 Greatest Hitters.
That's right.
Sure.
And by the way, next week, this coming week, this is going to be a really good game. This will be the third game of the Elite Eight. The 1975 Cincinnati Big Red Machine plays the 1939 New York Yankees.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
And it's going to be Don Gullett versus Red Ruffing. That's going to be a good game.
But you know what? I mean,
still alive?
I'm sorry?
Are my 55 Dodgers still alive?
Oh, no, they got knocked out in the first round.
I got to go.
You know who beat them? The 29 A's beat them.
Yeah, well.
In the first round. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was the 29.
Oh,
no. I'm sorry. I take that back. They were the 16th rated team. So they wound up in the first round playing the 27 Yankees.
Yeah, they lost. They lost 7-6.
Was that close?
Yeah, 7-6.
All right.
So one thing it made me remember, first of all, Jimmy Fox also played for the Red Sox, and had some good years at Fenway Park. So is how good that that Red Sox team was pretty good. That Red Sox team was, and in fact, and I'm going to pull back because when you first did this, I was like, well, I know they were the '04 Red Sox, broke the curse, but there might have been better Red Sox teams. But as you're saying those, like, here's the thing, like, and I get Manny with the steroid stuff, and some people think Ortiz too.
No.
But it would be really hard. It's really hard to find a better 4-5 or whatever they were, 3-4 in the lineup than Manny and Ortiz.
Who was the 4-5 or 3-4 in the 2018 Red Sox?
Oh, God, you're gonna have to make me look that
It was
up.
no, it was Ortiz, and who else was it?
No, Ortiz was gone for
in 18.
Yeah, Ortiz was gone in 18.
I mean, wasn't that the team that won like 108 games?
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. But I mean,
right,
Manny and Ortiz were pretty good. I mean, they're not weren't Maris and Mantle in '61, but they were a pretty good combo there. And Manny is one of the reasons why Ortiz got to become David Ortiz.
Good point. Again, Joe Orlando is not going to be able to make it. He's stuck in traffic. He'll be joining us in a week or two. All right, Scott, before we get into some, and James, into some hobby discussion, Scott, you have an auction going on right now. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, that's one of our post-war auctions, 8 of those a year. This one, definitely, there's, a lot of times we have kind of a focus, but this one really is just a little bit all over the place. There's some great complete sets, great singles, and a lot of great starter sets for anybody who's thinking about starting a set, and the better way to do that is if you can buy a nice little bulk lot to get yourself started.
I noticed you have a Reggie Jackson.
Rookie, yeah.
That's a nice card.
Yeah.
Very nice card. Autographed cards, man, have just exploded, haven't they?
Yeah, it's been crazy because when I started in the hobby, you just did not do that.
Right.
Ruining a card if you did that, and now it's gone completely 180.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Scott, one thing when I was looking at your auction online, you just said it. I wrote right here. I know I have. This is a great auction for set beginners or set fillers. You have a lot of cards like for people that are out there trying to fill a set. Was that by design? Is it just what came in? Is it how you present them? Or talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it really kind of goes back to our name. We're always trying to connect collectors to what they want.
Right.
So that is definitely our focus. So if we're doing a bulk lot, we're going to keep it consistent condition wise, because if you're starting a set, you want a consistent set.
Sure.
And then when you get to more expensive cards, we're going to do them individually so you don't have to buy stuff you don't want. So again, the whole thing is done with an eye towards how do you collect? And we're trying to market to those people.
James, do you collect cards or memorabilia?
I do. I still do today. And actually, I'm putting together for the last probably 3-4 years, slowly, the 53 top set. It's one of my favorite all-time sets. And have a nice tie to that with one of the original artists who was a mentor to me, who did some of the original 53s. And I do collect autograph cards. And just like mentioning about how it used to be like a bad thing to get cards signed. I love a lot of my older cards I collected when I was younger that may not be worth as much, but getting them autographed, like the rookie cards, it's a lot of fun for me. So that's been a big thing I like getting done.
Well, I have a question for Scott primarily, but James, you can jump into, and JM, you can too. The whole autograph card phenomena, it's a little confusing to me. And Scott, I'd like your opinion on this, because number one, it seems now as though a rookie card from today, baseball, basketball, signed by a rookie is really not worth that much money. The reason being is if I see a Mike Trout or whoever and he signs a baseball card for me, okay, that's all well and good, but aren't these guys cutting deals with the card companies so that the quote autograph card that is worth a lot of money is coming out of the manufacturing facility rather than getting a card signed? So hasn't that watered down like a signed card by Jason Tatum or a signed card by Soto, any of those guys? What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
The market is chasing the stuff out of the packs. The market really isn't interested in secondary market autographs on modern cards. I think that's what makes the vintage autograph cards really interesting.
I was going to say that, yeah.
Especially for the guys who passed before it became the trend. If you have a player who died in the early 80s, that was when still in a time when you didn't get cards signed. So a signed card by him, that's real scarcity as opposed to the manufactured scarcity of a Jason Tatum 105 autograph.
Exactly. So to get back to what you're saying, James, you've done it the right way. We were at Rico and I had an event up in Orlando a couple of weeks ago. And it was a panel discussion. I don't know if you guys know Tom Ruggie. I know you know him, John.
Yeah.
Tom Ruggie was on the panel with us, and Tom, he's got, I think, 3 or 4 of the highest graded sets on the set registry. One of which is he has all but 7 of the 1952 Topps collection signed by every player.
Wow.
And it is just an amazing collection. And believe it or not, the 7 cards that he doesn't have signed, they're all common players that are just difficult to find. Right. But I mean, Scott, and they're all, the grades are on his set of from 3 to 7. Scott, what is the value of something like that?
I mean, that's so hard to even put a value on it. You could value them all individually, but as a group, it's stratospheric because the work that went into it.
He's been working on it for 30 years.
Oh, Scott,
Scott, what was the shift on that though? And correct me if I'm wrong. We've talked about this before, Zap, is that before, like when I was collecting, it was forbidden to get your card signed. Where did the shift take place, in your opinion? I think it was just recent, maybe the last year,
Couple years.
It's been a little longer than that. I think it really oddly was driven by the pack pulled autograph market.
Okay.
Really?
It became standard to pull autographs, all the way back to like 92 Donruss Elite and the Upper Deck Heroes. They started making cards specifically that were autographed, and then everybody else went, well, but I can get my stuff autographed. But I'd say it really kind of caught fire probably in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Interesting. We had a chatting with Scott Russell from Collector Connection, James Fiorentino. I think we have about another minute and a half left before we have to take a break. James, did you do was there a Bernie event too, a Bernie Williams event that you're doing or that you've done recently?
Yeah, there's one coming up, Bernie softball event in June I'll be a part of, and doing a project with Bernie. I've done stuff with him in the past too, actually, for like PBS New York. Another all-time favorite player, an incredible person. So yeah, that'll be those are the kind of events throughout the year I'll be doing a lot with the book, with those types of things. So yeah, that'll be coming up soon.
Very good. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We got one more segment. James is in the house. Scott has jumped in. Thank God for you, Scott. Thank God for you. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Curry, a 2-time child cancer survivor, recipient, and advocate for Lucy's Love Bus. The mission of Lucy's Love Bus, 501c3 nonprofit, is to provide joy, comfort, and quality of life for the entire family of children with cancer. Since 2006, they have delivered love and comfort to over 3,000 children with cancer and their family members across New England. The dream of Lucy Grogan, an 11-year-old cancer patient, was to help kids with cancer who are suffering right now, before there is a cure, by offering free integrative therapies like art, music, horseback riding, and many other activities. Unfortunately, Lucy passed away, but her dream lives on, and today Lucy's Love Bus is thriving.
I'm Red Sox Hall of Famer Rico Petroselli. I hope that you'll consider supporting Lucy's Love Bus and all of those children who have been stricken by cancer. The Great American Collectibles Show is partnering with Lucy's Love Bus to help these kids. Let's continue Lucy's dream. Please go to lucyslovebus.org for more information.
Pristine Auction is a family-owned and operated online auction specializing in autographed memorabilia, sports cards, coins, art, and collectibles. Since their founding in 2010, they've grown to 2 facilities in Phoenix, Arizona, totaling over 60,000 square feet. Jared Cavalier and an incredible staff of over 150 team members serve a very large customer base and enjoy every minute of it. By working with leading authentication companies, Pristine ensures all items are 100% authentic. In addition, third-party authenticators regularly travel to Pristine Auction to provide authentication services on site. Pristine Auction strives to operate its business in a way that's honoring to God, their families, and their customers. With a strong focus on speed, quality, and premier customer service, their mission is to be the leading online auction for every level of collector and fan. Pristine also works for Hope Sports and Identity Hoops International, traveling to Mexico to build houses for the less fortunate. Pristine Auction offers several online auction formats with thousands of auctions ending each day. For more information, go to pristineauction.com. That's Pristine Auction, the best in the business.
If you're a discerning collector interested in owning the most important pieces in the hobby, look no further than Leland's Auctions. The original sports auction and appraisal house, Leland's was established in 1985 by legendary Pioneer founder Joshua Leland Evans. And today, President Mike Hefner carries on the tradition. From the Tom Brady card and memorabilia collection to the famed Boston Garden auction to high-end card auctions from every major sport, Leland's has always maintained the highest standards. Go to Lelands.com and get your bid in. That's Leland's, the hobby's leading sports auction house for 4 decades.
It's often been said that championships are won on the practice field, and world records come only to those willing to work harder than everybody else. Heritage Auctions is the world's largest collectibles auctioneer because we believe that becoming the best is only an invitation to the challenge of remaining the best. This requires the skills of the hobby's top experts, capable of identifying and maximizing value for our consigners. It requires the most visited website in the industry, courting a global audience of collectors over 1.5 million strong. It requires a dedicated press department that expands our global reach far beyond the entrenched hobby marketplace. It's hard work, but a simple premise. Present the finest collectibles to the largest population of potential buyers, and world records will come. We invite all listeners to put the unmatched power of Heritage Auctions to work for you. Auction evaluations are always free, and our commission-based fee structure ensures that our interests are always aligned. Highest possible price for your collectibles. There will always be new world records to chase, so let's chase them together. Visit our website at ha.com and request your no-obligation review today.
Hi, this is Dan from Memory Lane Auctions, here to remind you that the renowned Memory Lane Collectibles Company has served as a beacon of light to the collecting community for the past several decades. Indeed, folks, it has been our utmost privilege and pleasure to provide the most enthusiastic collectors with an abundance of the finest sports cards and memorabilia for America's most coveted sports personalities via our world-class auctions. Whether you choose either a private sale transaction or the auction route, Memory Lane cordially invites you to reach out to us to maximize the value of your prized possessions. Also, it is not just sales that we pride ourselves on being the best of the rest, because if you are seeking a particular keepsake for your esteemed gathering, we will be relentless in our quest to find that special piece to fulfill your collecting dreams. So no time to wait. Reach out to us today for the purposes of capitalizing on our unparalleled marketing capabilities. Simply pick up the phone and dial 877-606-5263. That's 877-606-LANE, or find us on the World Wide Web at www.memorylaneinc.com. Now is the time for your valued consignment to ultimately become another one of Memory Lane's record-setting prices.
Okay, we are back, and James is in the house. Scotty's in the house. JM is actually in the house.
Literally in my house.
Yeah, what's going on? Why aren't you? Why are you in your house? Why aren't you at Parts Unknown? They let you out?
Let me out a little bit.
Did they really?
Yeah.
All right, listen. I want you to tell our good viewers about Lucky's March Madness, the White Plains Card Show.
I will do just that, Zap. Lucky's March Madness, the White Plains Card Show, is Friday to Sunday, March 21st through the 23rd, held at Westchester County Center, 198 Central Ave in White Plains, New York. Shop over 400 of your favorite hobby dealer tables on over 40,000 square feet of this sports collectibles paradise. Vintage and modern cards, sports cards, and memorabilia. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs, including Beckett doing RCR and GCR grading. The March Madness show is family-friendly, and all kids 12 and under get in free but must be accompanied by a parent or guardian. Some of the biggest names in basketball, baseball, and football will be represented. Autographed guests to include Fergie Jenkins, Lee Smith, Raleigh Fingers. How would that be for a bullpen, right?
Wow.
Gary Sheffield, George Gervin, Dave Bing, Jack Sikma, Sam Perkins, Derek Coleman, Larry Brown, and many more. Go to luckycardshows.com for tickets and more information about the March Madness show at the Westchester County Center in White Plains, New York. That's luckycardshows.com.
And there is one more card show that I want to talk about, and I think Scott goes to it once in a while. The CSA show is proud to present the Chantilly show, being held on April 4th to April 6th, held at the Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia, just minutes from the Dulles International Airport, celebrating 28 years at the same location. There's going to be over 450 dealer tables exhibiting on over 125,000 square feet of space, both vintage and modern cards and memorabilia, as well as all kinds of modern day sports treasures. You're not going to have to look very far to see that, to find that special card, bat, ball, or autograph. Major auction houses and third-party grading companies will be on site to assist you with your collecting and authentication needs. Some of your favorite superstars, JM, Jamar Chase, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Pro Football Hall of Famer inductees Eric Allen, Sterling Sharp, and Antonio Gates.
Oh, that's neat.
Baseball Hall of Famers Johnny Bench, Cal Ripken, David Ortiz, and many more. Over 40 guests in total. For more information, go to www.csashows.com. That's the Chantilly show, where you can find all of your sports collecting treasures. Hey, I've got a question for both James and Scott. James, do you collect, I know you're collecting cards, do you collect memorabilia at all?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have some nice pieces here, some little game used here and there from some guys I know, and yeah, different signed stuff, some bats. Again, a lot of stuff for me now is like the nice personal stuff from guys. That kind of stuff I love, having on display.
Scott, I've noticed over the last year regarding memorabilia, and I know you get into memorabilia a lot with your auctions. It seems as though how do I say this? A piece of memorabilia is not necessarily connected to an iconic player, but more to an iconic piece of baseball history. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to belong to a famous player to have some value. More or less, it's a lot of times connected to a particular event. Case in point, we were talking about Rico's baseball hat.
Yeah.
And this is a good example, Scott. I want to get your opinion on it. Make a long story short, Rico's baseball hat, when he caught the pop-up from Rich Rollins to pretty much clinch the 67 pennant, some 17-year-old punk stole it off the top of his head and took off into the crowd because there was bedlam on the field that day. Now we fast forward 60 years. Rico's at a banquet with Elsie, and the guy that stole his hat at 17 was and now is a minority owner of the Boston Red Sox, Dick DiBenedetto. He was 17. He stole the hat, blah, 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 and he gave it to Rico. Rico was shocked. 50 years later, he gives him the hat back. So we had Michael Osaki on the show at this event with us. And Michael said that based on the history of that particular hat, that Rico caught the pop-up to clinch the pennant, basically, and the provenance, the hat's worth like $15,000 to $20,000. Now, obviously, Rico's a great player, but Rico's, he's not Honus Wagner. What are your thoughts on that, Scott? Is that the case if there is a particular piece of memorabilia just attributed to a common player, but the event makes it more valuable?
Yeah, I mean, and don't underestimate the power of that entire story in the value of that piece too. I mean, yeah, it's cool it clinched the pennant for him, but the fact that it was stolen by a kid who then went on to become a minority owner, and we've got the whole story and the provenance and all the people involved.
Yeah,
that's the difference between memorabilia on a card. Every one of those little details adds value to that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's like if Bill Buckner's glove from the '86 World Series,
right,
up at auction, and there was some, Buckner's a great player, kind of like Rico, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Right.
But that glove would go for unbelievable amounts of money because
that's interesting.
Right. Zap, playing off of that, the different aspects that make something valuable or inspirational, what have you. I want to ask this question to James, and that is, obviously you're a sports fan. You played baseball at a pretty high level into college, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a baseball player as well. You're also an accomplished artist, starting from the time you were literally a toddler. So when you go to a project, or when you're attracted to a project or a player to immortalize on canvas, is it more the sports guy, or is it more the artist that goes into your inspiration and then the work itself?
Boy, good question. I mean, it would be both. I do think that there's something that, I played a lot and played sports and played baseball in college that, maybe the understanding of the player more position or how he should look, and maybe the soul and the grit of the player comes out more when you're an athlete and played. But yeah, I even to this day, like, I still love painting vintage guys and learning more about them and historical stuff. That's why I love doing stuff with the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
But yeah, being an athlete certainly helps, I feel like, in that, in that example.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to say, we should mention the name of this, The Art of Baseball, the watercolors of James Fiorentino. Again, great story, not only of James' life as a young artist and into adulthood, but great sports stories too, and great personal stories in there. Go ahead, Zep.
James, first of all, and then we're going to get to Scotty. James, how can people buy the book?
Yeah, right now. So you can go to my website, jamesfiorentino.com. Been promoting it on social media and, through all different things like this and media. We'll be doing a lot of events this year where you can come out and see me. Did the Philly show in December. We'll be doing the Yogi Bear Museum in April, Somerset Patriots out this way, the National Sports Convention in Chicago. Local bookstores. I think this is going to be a nice thing where it's a little bit different than most people's books, in that this will be a process for me to promote for the next 5 years, 10 years. But every time I have an opportunity, and especially this year, I'm listing all the different events that I'm going to do. But certainly you can go to the website and buy it.
Scotty, for your auction, man, you have such a perfect niche for what you do. Because we call it the 80-20 rule, that you really, the 80% of the collectibles world those are the guys that go to you. I mean, the guy that's going to buy a $20 million Honus Wagner, most likely, I mean, he may see something on your site, but that 80% of the population, you've got great prices, great memorabilia, great cards. You make it very, very easy to shop. So when does your auction end?
It ends on the 30th.
On the 30th, what is that, at 8 o'clock?
10 o'clock it starts to close. And with our closing, we're usually wrapped up before midnight Eastern time. So it's not like you have to stay up all morning.
And how many are you doing a year now?
We do 8 post-war, 2 pre-war, and then 2 non-sport cards and comic books.
By the way, James mentioned the Philly show. We are going to be I guess it's September.
Yep.
Is the 50th anniversary of the Philly show. So Mallory is not going to be there because he's turning 112. But Rico and I are going to be doing the Great American Collectibles show. We're going to be doing a special 2-hour show from the Philly show. And some of the guests are going to be off the charts. We have not just us, but we're working with Joe Drellick, and we're bringing in some real heavyweight guests, the who's who in the collectibles world, because it is the 50th. So it's going to be a great celebration. James, I know you'll be there. Scotty, I know you'll be there. So we look forward to that. I think with that being said, I think we're just about out of time, JM. You have any words of wisdom that you'd like to end with? Because
No,
pretty much what comes out of your mouth is.
I'm just thrilled to be doing this show with an award-winning sports collectibles author like yourself. It's just it's exciting for me. I'm humbled, and I just can only hope to be like you when I get very, very old.
John, real quickly, we've got about a minute left. Tell the story about the Cracker Jack Awards banquet. John, I'm going to tell the story.
Go ahead.
We had to go, Ellen and myself and John. We won the gold, a silver medal with the Independent Book Publishers, whatever.
Ben Franklin Awards.
Ben Franklin Award, right? We had to go to New York City.
Yeah.
So John and I, number one, we got there early.
We did.
So as a result, we were in the bar downstairs drinking martinis. And then we went up to the awards banquet. And when they announced the winner,
so we were nominated. We didn't know if we were going to get gold, silver, or bronze.
Right.
We were nominated with like 4 other books, sports books.
So they announced they announced us as the silver medal.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to Mallory, Jesus, who the hell could have won the gold medal? The gold medal was a hunting book. It was a book on hunting that some guy won. So of course Mallory starts the scene.
It was just let me
the awards banquet.
You're telling it horribly. So they do the winners like the award shows on TV. So they read off the nominees. So it was the Cracker Jack collection, some football book, whatever. And the other nominee was called it was about the grouse, the bird, the grouse.
Grouse hunting.
Not even the liquor, the grouse. It was the grouse. So I said to Zap, and we had a few drinks. I said, if we lose to the effing grouse, it's not going to be pretty here. And sure enough, they said, and the winner, the gold medal goes to the grouse book. And I'm pretty sure I stood up and said something.
Oh yeah, yeah. He got a little out of hand.
Effing kidding me?
After 3 martinis.
I did not have that nice look that all the people have at the Oscars, like, oh, thank you. I was, yeah.
All right, guys, we're just
not
about
a good
out
sport
of time.
about that. But.
James, thanks.
James,
so much
I
for
promise
on.
if we're at a book award show, I will behave myself better with you. Okay?
Yeah, actually, James, I'm going to make a prediction. That book is going to win a major award. I'm going to make that prediction.
Let's hope so. Thank you.
I'm telling you, Scotty. Always a pleasure. Thanks for helping us out today. Scott was only supposed to be doing like a 10-minute segment, but we asked him to jump in, and he jumped in admirably, and we love having him.
Awesome.
With that being said, guys, have a great week. JM, we'll see you in a couple of weeks up north.
You will. Awesome. Good, buddy.
Right. And with that being said, happy collecting.